The recent heatwave in the UK would provide some nice dry conditions for once at Anglesey Circuit for the Dave Reed Stages Rally. And there would be a great turnout of crews and spectators for the Warrington and District Motor Club Run event. Something to do with the man with his name above the door, perhaps. The rally then would follow the usual circuit rally format with 8 stages, 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. And over those morning stages, it would be this man, Gareth Edwards, David Evans alongside, taking the lead. The Darien pair with 30 seconds in hand at the midpoint of the day. Second place would be Rob Hughes and Sean Cunniff, previous winners at this venue. And they'd be looking to take another victory if they possibly could. The dry weather, though, clearly playing into the hands of that lightweight Darien up ahead. For Daryl Taylor and Steve McNulty, it would be third. The times were closer at this end of the podium, only 8 seconds back from Hughes over the morning's 4 stages. Second place in Class D, behind our rally leaders, will be Mark Smith and Tim Nunn, the second of the Dariens in the top of our leaderboard as well. Today looking like it was going to play into the rear-wheel drive lightweight car hands for sure. For Paul Murrow and Callum Cross, it will be an early 5th place overall. A good start to the day for the pair. They also end the morning with 3rd in Class E. As far as Class C was concerned, it would be the lead there for Jason and Lee Wilson. The times were close, though, throughout the top 10. Themselves, only a handful of seconds either side of them to keep an eye on. The conditions overall may have suited the Dariens, but that small section of gravel on this hairpin certainly didn't. Will Owen would have a number of Anglesey wins under his belt to come here with. Chloe Louise Thomas this weekend alongside in the Escort. For now, the pair will be lying 3rd in Class D, 7th place on the overall leaderboard. Josh Payton and Jamie Vaughan come here off the back of a strong season in the Circuit Rally Championship. They would probably have liked to be higher on the overall leaderboard than they were at this stage, but 8th place overall, 2nd in Class C, was a good solid start and a good place to start fighting from. Nigel Worswick had stopped daydreaming of Barbados and was actually doing a rally in the UK. Sophie Buckland alongside another crew, losing a few seconds though in the dusty gravel of the hairpin on stage 3. Anglesey wasn't quite Barbados, but at least they had the sun to make it feel a little more like it. They just need a little more run, perhaps after the stages. 9th place overall for the pair for now. And rounding out our top 10 on the leaderboard at this stage will be Kieran Hankin and Mark Cheetham. Still great to see that Peugeot R5 car out on rallies after being campaigned by John Griffiths previously on selected events. Well, that's the top 10, but what about the classes? It would be the Class B lead for Sean Jones and Evan Devine. This would be the first time in the car together, and they were going pretty well. The last time, meanwhile, that Di Davies and Rich Jones competed together was here, back in 2016, in their old car. And they'd be commenting throughout the day on how much the pace had gone up since then. Of course, keeping the car pointing in the right direction and not doing donuts mid-stage would have helped their times a little more. The Dave Reed stages will be the first time out in a new car as well for Andrew Turner and Richard Winstanley. They make the switch from front to rear-wheel drive, ending the morning with 3rd in Class C. And in the historic class, it would be the lead for Stephen Ellison and Andy Rose in the Build Base Escort. The historic class was going to be a tough battle this weekend. Not much of a gap at the top of those times. Chasing them down, in fact, in that class would be Kimberly Stewart-Mather and Yvonne Mather. There was a lot of combined experience inside this car, and it was showing. They were only 11 seconds off the class lead after 4 stages. In Class A, it would be a convincing lead for Steve Brown and Jeffrey Sim in the Micra. The pair going well to lead the class by over 2 minutes by this stage. Back to Class B, and it would be 2nd in the class for Jeff McQuilling and Sophie Landon. little way off the class lead, but they were in a battle to keep hold of that second in class, so they had it all to do. There was only 2 seconds in that fight as well, with Louis Baines and Chris Coombs lying third in the class for now. Only the second stage rally for the pair, so things were going pretty well when you consider that. For Miv Owen and Baz Green, it would be third in Class H. It seemed from the info given that they were proud of their record of only rolling 4 times in 25 years. Of course, it doesn't say how many times they nearly rolled. With Steve Brown out in the lead of Class A, it would be left to second place in the class for Toby and Holly Marshall. The gap behind them wasn't quite as big as the one in front, but they did have a bit of wriggle room to carry into the afternoon. And for Chris and Rob Johnson, it would be third in that class, 46 seconds back from Marshall up ahead. So we reached the midpoint of the rally. How picturesque is it here at Anglesey in the sunshine? Here's a reminder of those overall results so far on the Dave Reed stages. We head out back onto those classic now circuit rally stages here at Anglesey for the afternoon, and there wouldn't be any change in Class A. Chris and Rob Johnson ending the rally third place in that class. That means for the eagle-eyed among you, you'll have noticed Toby and Holly Marshall hang on to second in the class to end the rally. A strong result and taking 34th on the overall leaderboard as well. It will be a similar story in the historic class. Miv Owen and Baz Green not adding roll number 5 to the list, they'll be pleased to let you know. Keeping things going to the finish on 4 wheels to take third in class. In Class B, it will be third overall for Louis Baines and Chris Coombs. They end the rally 28th on the overall leaderboard as well. And for Jeff McQuilling and Sophie Landon, it will be second in that class, finishing 1 place higher on the order in 27th overall, just 9 seconds ahead by the finish. Steve Brown and Jeffrey Sim didn't gain too much more of an advantage through the afternoon, and they didn't really need to either. They take the class win by a good margin, as well as 25th place overall in the micro. The historic class wasn't going to change through the afternoon. Kimberly Stewart-Mather and Yvonne Mather taking that second place that they'd held on to since the early morning stages. The difference at the finish will be 17 seconds. Hardly the most comfortable of wins for Stephen Ellison and Andy Rose, but a welcome one. They'd be happy with that. This was also the first time in the Escort for co-driver Andy too. It ended up being a bit of a bittersweet finish for Alex Rossiter and Ian Clapham. They were competing in Class C because their historic car wasn't logbooked as one yet. So for this weekend, it will be 5th in class, but they'd be happy knowing that their times were pretty competitive when you look at the historic class finishes. If that car had been logbooked as such, watch this space. This weekend was really just about seat time in the car for Andrew Turner and Richard Wynne-Stanley, as well as getting the setup somewhere close to where they wanted it to be. So to come away with third place in the class was a good end to the rally for the pair. Sean Jones and Ivan Devine would have alternator issues through the afternoon. A bit of a troublesome event all in all, the car not charging properly. What that meant was that they needed to make sure they didn't stall, as they'd been unlikely to get it going again. They do get to the end of the rally though, and with the Class B victory. Let's barrel on into the top 10 then, and it would be that 10th place overall for Dave Roberts and Robert Jones. 4th in the popular Class D as well for the pair. And speaking of Class D, it will be third in that class for Berwyn and Mari Evans. A good end to the rally, as well as taking 9th place on the leaderboard. For Kieran Hankin and Mark Cheetham, though, it would be 8th. They did finish 10th here last time out, so things were already improving with that finish. 2nd place in Class C would be what Josh Payton and Jamie Vaughan could manage this weekend, ending the rally overall with 7th place as well. And for Jason and Lee Wilson, it would be victory in Class C, guiding the Darien around to 6th place overall this weekend at Anglesey. Apart from plenty of entertainment on the stages, there wasn't really much to report as far as the top 5 were concerned on the leaderboard this afternoon. Things staying pretty much how we left them this morning, which wasn't exactly bad news for the crews. Paul Murrow and Callum Cross taking 5th place overall, 3rd in Class E. For Mark Smith and Tim Nunn, it will be 4th. They were only 2 seconds off the podium positions as well. A very close fight then to the finish for the pair, who take 2nd in Class D for their troubles too. And we're on to those podium positions. I might have already spoiled the surprise in saying that not much had changed. It will be 3rd overall for Daryl Taylor and Steve McNulty, the pair ending the rally with 2nd in Class E. And taking the victory in that class, as well as a strong 2nd overall, which they would be delighted with, will be Rob Hughes and Sean Cunniff. They keep the gap to the leaders as close as they possibly can. They don't let them get away too much either this weekend. That does mean then, with a 33-second advantage, it's victory for Gareth Edwards and David Evans. A good end to the day, the weather helping them to get the best out of that Darien on the stages. An entertaining and a sunny tribute to a very good man. That's the Dave Reed Memorial Stages complete. Here's a reminder of those final overall positions here at Anglesey.